Hey everybody, welcome to ETFS Weekly. I'm Travis Yoesting alongside fellow Morning Telegraph sports writer Chris Parry. We've got playoff basketball in full swing. Robert E. Lee girls, JT girls in action. Chris, you saw the Lee girls on Monday night. How did they do?
When the game started, Robert E. Lee looked like they were very outsized. The Oak Ridge had, I think, two girls were 6'4". It just seemed like almost every girl was taller than Lee. But then the game started, and Lee's plan was that they're going to beat Oak Ridge with speed. They're going to try to beat them to the basket, going to try to beat them to rebounds, to steals, and it worked to perfection. They took an early lead. They maintained it. They got into massive foul trouble in both the first quarter and the third quarter, and still were able to overcome it. And really, it turned out in the fourth quarter, it was kind of just a play it out situation. And it was such a big deal to think that it was a play out situation because it was the first playoff win for Robert E. Lee since 2005. Now that's one game. Now I think what's funny is because both John Tyler and Robert E. Lee girls had to play district champions to start the playoffs. John Tyler had to face the other co-district champion, Lufkin. How'd they do?
That's right. You know, they went down to Jacksonville to play Lufkin. Earlier in the year, Lufkin had beaten JT by 21 points, but this time around, JT got off to a strong start and held on throughout the game. And you know, even with their two best players on the bench in the final minute, they were able to hold on for a 46-39 victory. And they will advance past Lufkin. They'll play Garland Lakeview Centennial on Friday in Kaufman. It'll be the same venue where Robert E. Lee is playing the same night before. And you know, John Tyler girls, they finally are kind of starting to get things together. I think they had to beat Rockwall Heath on a last-second buzzer beater just to get into the playoffs, and so I think they're kind of riding that momentum, and we'll see how far they can go. Unfortunately, the JT boys, their season ended on Tuesday night with a home loss to North Mesquite, 70-65. Mashad Moore scored 30 points in his final game for the Lions, so he went out with a bang. How did the Lee boys finish their season?
Well, before the Lee boys, talking about the Lee girls, John Tyler and Lee both basically started the playoff. This is their second playoff game because Lee had to beat John Tyler to make the playoffs, and JT had to beat Rockwall Heath. I think that was kind of an advantage. They got him in the postseason. I forgot to tell you, the score 53-31, Robert E. Lee won over Conroe Oak Ridge. They're going up against Dallas Skyline on Thursday at 6 p.m. in Kaufman, and then John Tyler just go hang out in Kaufman for 2 straight days. You got the Lee girls at 6, and you got the John Tyler girls at 7 o'clock on Friday. Robert E. Lee guys went to Longview. Things that they fell behind, were able to come back and make a game of it late, and they kind of lost it at the free throw line at the end of the game. Kirby Mabry was a senior. He scored 16 points, had 18 rebounds. What a way to finish out his Robert E. Lee career. And both Robert E. Lee and John Tyler guys are out of they're not advancing to the playoffs. That turns to TAPS and teams that are playing in the playoffs. Just talk to me about All Saints and the Brook Hill boys.
Yeah, last night we had a couple TAPS playoff games in town. All Saints was hosting Brook Hill over at Brookshire Gym. All Saints, led by Sean Phillips, who had 21 points. They pulled away, got a 54-38 victory. They'll be moving on to play in Lorena on Saturday. Then the Grace girls, they also played at home on Tuesday night. They're playing Trinity Christian Cedar Hill, a former district rival. Came back over here, and Grace, they had 13 assists on 13 field goals and made just enough field goals down the stretch to hold off Trinity Christian for a 43-39 victory. They'll be moving on to play on Saturday against Austin Regents. Then also in TAPS, All Saints girls, they went all the way to Midland just to lose by 20 points. Tough loss for them, tough way to lose end their season. But we'll have two teams going on playing on Saturday, Grace girls and All Saints boys, playing for the right to go to the Final Four. And we also got TAPS soccer playoffs. They'll be starting up pretty soon. The season finales, regular season finales were Tuesday night. With Grace girls clinching an undefeated district championship. Of course, we got Lee and JT boys soccer and girls soccer. They played each other Tuesday night. Chris, you were there for the boys game. How did that one go? It
was cold. It was cold. Robert Lee and John Tyler played a terrific ball game and went back and forth. I thought JT kind of dominated the play for a lot of the first half. They got some terrific goalkeeping from Anthony Pirtle, stopped 2 breakaways in the final minutes, and they went into the locker room halftime, tied 0-0. And Robert E. Lee got two goals in the second half. I mean, it was just JT looked like they had some momentum. Then once Robert E. Lee scored the first one, they got the second one. They won 2-0. That was big for Lee because Lee basically went from the bottom of the standings almost to the top. And that's what makes District 11 6A soccer for both boys and girls fun. On the girls side of things, Robert E. Lee girls won 10-0 over John Tyler. Multiple girls scored 2 goals. Jasmine Navarro, Alex Bice, the list goes on and on. They kind of had kind of a breakout goal performance against JT. But when you're looking at the standings right now, Travis, I mean, if you lose one game, you can go from 2nd place to 7th in one deal. I think it's going to make for an exciting end, the second half of the district soccer season.
Definitely, and make sure you stay tuned to etfinalscore.com. We'll have all your updates for girls playoff basketball, boys playoff basketball starting on Tuesday. We had softball start this week. JT and Lee had their games canceled on Tuesday, but they'll be starting up right away. Baseball starts on Tuesday, and just stay tuned and make sure to follow Chris Parry on Twitter at @CParryETFS and myself at Yoesting ETFS. And we'll see you guys next week.
Yeah, hopefully we're talking about some more playoff victories.